Mr. Balaji, sir, namaste.
Namaste.
And for the last 2 years, we started celebrating Deming's Day together. And 20th December last year, we remembered him. And
Yeah,
again,
I was in Boston.
that's right. And this year, we celebrated Deming's Day. And 20th December, you being my mentor, you would be. I always remember you. That you would be the guiding light to understand Deming better than the superficial 14 points that people talk about. We talked about the obstacles last time. That was quite
Yes, I
revealing.
remember. Yes.
That was quite revealing
Absolutely.
to us because we get stuck with 14 points and deadly diseases. The obstacles, as you rightly said, is very few people refer to. And today, I would like you to talk and tell us as a mentee, requesting you to guide me. So let me do the standard work. Everybody knows you, but I need to do this.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh.
So today, the 20th December,
Yes.
and that's his signature. Copy, paste, so that we remember him because the signature is so beautifully. I mean, I don't know about his handwriting, but you know it much better because you have some of his manuscript written by his hand, right, sir?
Correct. Very steady hand.
Yeah. You need no introduction, but formality demands Balaji Reddy, Deming Forum founder of India. I remember the year 1999 by heart. So the rest of it, Deming Forum of India, honorary member of Deming Alliance Institute, advisory council member, Edward Deming's Institute, USA. Last time when you spoke about that you were rebuilding, recasting, I don't know what term that you used with of certain manuscript that you have handwritten by Deming, that you are building on that.
That's correct. Well, no, I'm completing his work. That is Joyce Orsini, who's his PhD student, and then became his assistant and colleague, you may call it, in many programs. And then she ran the Deming Scholars MBA at Fordham University for the longest time. They finally had to sort of shut down the course in 2014, and that finished my dream of wanting to do that course. I always wished to do that course, but I never. I mean, it was way out of my reach, and so I just had to just let it be. But I did attend the Deming Research Seminar, which they used to have every year.
Who is the lady you said, sir? I couldn't get her name.
Dr. Joyce Orsini.
Joyce?
Orsini.
Orsini. Okay.
Yeah, you'll find her name in Out of the Crisis. He refers to, inspection can be carried out. When do you need to spend time and money on inspection? And then he says Joyce Orsini, the rules. She did her PhD, like I said. And then she, in fact, edited and recreated most of his work in The Essential Deming. She took all his old papers and tried to put it all together. And I told you, I think last time I explained to you how I got to get that book, his lectures in Japan. And so we are working on, she said he was working on an updated version of that. And since I'd already done all the dirty work of typing it out, so I sent her with some edits. She wanted it in a certain format in the drawing. So all that is been done. There's some 2 chapters from ground up, and so she's working on those. And once we're done, I think the book should be Reddie. It's called Elemental Principles of the Statistical Control of Quality, the third edition.
Okay.
That's what we'll be calling it, and let's see how it goes.
Okay.
So yeah.
You know what? I got a tongue-in-the-cheek statement. How long will that
Mhm.
take?
Oh, I really don't.
Yeah, but one thing for sure, that I will complete my 12 days to Deming, which I got stuck on the seventh day. I'm going to finish it by January, February. So that's the reason I said, let me put my limits, which I've been keeping on extending it, but let's say I'm going to do it. So on this day, 1981 is what you told me. He wrote this, Deming, better quality, greater productivity, customer happier, everybody happier. So on this day, when we're remembering Deming, we talk about it. Is that okay with you, sir? I lost your video there.
Yeah, I think I lost. Anyway, so I just was saying, I think I just saying that I don't know when it'll be ready because I've done my bit. So she's just fine-tuning a few things. So that's that.
So I'm a little curious. So let me stop sharing and then I pick up the book that you recommended, and I've flagged two parts of it. Okay, the first part
Okay.
is on uh, page 2, which says what is quality, and Deming writes over there, the basic problem anywhere is quality. What is quality? A product or a service possesses quality if it helps somebody and enjoys a good and sustainable market. Trade depends on quality. That's the first flag that I have.
Right.
Can you
But
expand that
you
further?
just flashed yeah, you just flashed his handwriting just now, saying better quality, greater productivity, customer happier, everybody happier. And I think he was among the first few people to talk about customers being happy, because people talked about customer satisfaction. But even in his 1950 notes in Japan, he would always say happy people. They should be happy people. Whether it's happy people at your place of work, happy people buying your products. He said quality is ways and means of making people happier. In fact, the inscription on the Deming medal says the right quality and uniformity are foundations of commerce, prosperity, and peace. And so you can see he was not talking something about statistics, because people always say he taught the Japanese statistics. Well, it was a good part of what he taught there, but he was going beyond just statistics. So I don't think he's given much of credit on that count. But who's bothered? I mean, he doesn't need endorsement from anybody else, as long as the Japanese know what they learned from him, and they owed him much of their turnaround which they had. I think that's just fine. So yeah, happy customers, happy employees, happy suppliers, and he says happier, which he uses a relative term. So when you said quality, when you read out that sentence, he actually, when he was explaining this at a program in London, I believe, because Henry writes in the Deming Dimension as to what happened. Helps someone. He said a product or a service possesses quality if it helps someone to live better, right? And he said it helps someone to live better in every way, because Henry said he would live better in a material sense. He said no, in every sense. Material sense is what you can actually measure, but it's those things which you cannot measure that really decide. Is much more difficult, to actually maintain and sustain, because just because you can't measure it doesn't mean you can't manage it. And so that, in fact, he also started saying things like joy in work, and people must enjoy their work.
Mhm.
So I think he was talking, I mean, these are terms which may seem alien today, but I think they should become an integral part of our being, because today you're talking about you know I mean softwares and bureaucracies, robots. I think we're removing the human element from everywhere, and that's
Mhm.
causing a big problem, if you want to ask me. I
Mhm.
mean, I think yes, technology definitely. Who doesn't want technology? But I think
Mhm.
technology is an enabler. It
Mhm.
should augment the human effort and not replace it.
Mhm.
Uh, Eventually, it's about getting work done through people,
Mhm.
and I think the sooner people, get to terms with that, the better it will be. Because we
Mhm.
don't want, I don't want a machine serving me. I mean, a chatbots and things like that. We can use, machines and computers and artificial intelligence for things which we have no control over. For
Mhm.
example, weather, and it'll help us predict in some way, if you
Mhm.
know what I mean, diseases,
Mhm.
terminal diseases, but that kind of stuff definitely. But quality, What- how the machine make out whether the customer is happy or not.
Mhm.
Satisfied is very easy to do, right? You bring out a questionnaire with questions for which you already know the answers, and
Mhm.
say 75% of the people say yes and 90% of the people say yes.
Mhm.
But whom are you fooling, really? You're making a fool of yourself. Because
Mhm.
he said a happy customer comes back and brings a friend,
Mhm.
right? And so I believe that people should be talking about happy customers and not just satisfied customers. In
Mhm.
fact, happier people at work.
Mhm.
In the book, The New Economics, he
Mhm.
beautifully puts this in that paragraph. I think I've read it out quite a few times, but encapsulating whatever he wanted to say about his entire philosophy. He called it transformation, and he didn't mean just a little tweak here and there. He would sometimes use the word metamorphosis, that is a caterpillar turning into a butterfly.
Mhm.
No going back. You can't reverse it, and there's
Mhm.
no inkling, no, not even a semblance of any kind of visual indicator that you see in a caterpillar that's going to become a butterfly,
Mhm.
right? So don't be fooled, right? We don't believe in that. We want that transformation. And he says that kind of a transformation will take us to a new method of reward.
Yeah.
He said we must restore the individual
Mhm.
and do so in the complexities of interaction with the rest of the world.
Mhm.
So it's not a it's not a philosophy of either or,
Mhm.
it's a philosophy of and. We
Mhm.
want the individual and the rest of the world to
Mhm.
benefit. And he says, well, the transformation will release the power of human resource
Mhm.
contained in intrinsic motivation.
Mhm.
Uh, he said that the humans, I mean, the intrinsic motivation is something that you cannot measure. I mean, we witnessed something amazing yesterday,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Where Argentina beat France, and
Mhm.
Mbappe had a hat trick, but he
Mhm.
was on the losing side.
Mhm.
you know, and if you saw the game, they seemed more inspired.
Mhm.
The Argentinians, it's always them who were scoring, and then these
Mhm.
guys were coming back. So they were dictating the game. So
Mhm.
it's only obvious that they ended up, winning it. But I think football was the winner yesterday more
Yeah.
than anything else.
Yes.
And so that's what he says here, that, in place of competition for high rating and high grades to be number one, there'll
Mhm.
be cooperation on problems of common interest between people, divisions, companies, competitors, governments,
Mhm.
and countries. Now, people always confuse, when we take the example of football or something. Yeah, in a game, someone wins and someone loses. We already knew that before the game began.
Mhm.
But in business, in education, in learning,
Mhm.
everyone can win. Well, I mean, the definition of winning is different. There's
Mhm.
place for everybody,
Mhm.
right? And so he says that the result will in time be greater innovation, applied science,
Mhm.
technology, expansion of market, greater service, greater reward for everyone. There will be joy in work and
Mhm.
joy in learning. And he
Mhm.
says anyone that enjoys his work
Mhm.
is a pleasure to work with.
Mhm.
Everyone will win, no losers.
Mm.
So, I think that this really brings out what he wanted to say, whether it's the definition of quality, whether it is what we just saw, what you flashed on the screen.
Mm.
And I think we've forgotten that, that
Mm.
we want happier people at work, we want happier customers in the market, we want suppliers, who are an extension of ourselves, to also be happy. They
Mm.
should be growing with us. I can't put it to better. I mean, that's the best way to put it, right?
Mm.
So it's good. I don't know what made you show that slide, but it
Yeah,
really bring it
what
out what he
what
had to say.
what made me show the slide is on one of the WhatsApp you sent that look at Deming, 1981, the best I remember, the 1981, I'm sure it is because it's the year that I got married. So he said what a great man he is, that he said all this. And while you were reading it, I picked up, here you are, it is on page 85, the para that you read, the transformation takers,
Yeah,
etc.
that's correct.
And it ends with everyone will win, no losers. One of the
No
important things
losers.
that I
That's
want,
correct.
and one thing that you really said, two words that caught my this thing was transformation, a caterpillar to a butterfly.
Hmm.
I'm not getting any negatives because today is a nice day to remember this. And one of the remembering Deming. So the positive part of it is the word that you used was intrinsic, and
Yeah.
uh, and that is something that captured me. The extrinsic can do a certain extent, but the intrinsic thing that comes out that really propels you to excel more than what you really think you can do. Am I right to that extent?
Yeah, yeah. You don't realize that there's unleashed potential,
Mm.
and when you unleash that, it takes you to another level altogether.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's exactly what he wanted. He said that the extrinsic motivation can only get you so far.
Mm-hmm.
Beat the horses, they'll run faster only for a while.
Mm-hmm.
But there's something else that propels them further. You need to take it. Uh, like I said, like yesterday, it seemed like an inspired Argentine team
Mm-hmm.
who they seemed to they seemed to be driven by something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like many people were paralleling, what happened yesterday with what happened with Sachin Tendulkar
Mm-hmm.
uh, and the 2011 World Cup victory. That the whole team said we're going to do this for Sachin.
Mm-hmm.
And if you remember Virat Kohli, he was a young kid at that time,
Mm-hmm.
and he said something wonderful when they were carrying him on the shoulders and parading him through the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So they asked him, "So, oh, you're carrying Sachin?" He said, "Yeah, he carried us for 24 years.
Wow,
It's about
yes.
time we give it back to him."
Mm-hmm.
That,
True.
you know, it's just a matter of what 20, 30 minutes. He said we can carry him for the whole day. So
Mm-hmm.
it just went to show how much it meant to everybody and not just one person. So I think intrinsic motivation drives you to another level altogether. When you want to do something for the sake of your fellow being, making that person's life much better and things like
Mm-hmm.
that, rather than I want to be a $20 billion company.
Mm-hmm.
And then like I said, the over robotization and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and also there's something called as over justification. If you heard about this phenomena, I think
Mm-hmm.
you've done your PhD and you
Mm-hmm.
know better than I about these things. But over justification, he gives a beautiful example about how a child wanted, used to love to do dishes
Mm-hmm.
at his home because he felt he was helping his mother and helping at home. He saw her being tired every day, so he did it out of his own. He wanted because he did it when he wanted to do it, and then his mother comes and rewards him with a $10 bill, and he's heartbroken. He didn't do it for the
Mm-hmm.
money. I
Mm-hmm.
can tell you this: what happened with my boss once, and when he told this story to me, I could see his his eyes were damp. I mean, because he remembered this because when there was a tough time in the company, and he said, "Look, we have to get through this year, and I can't promise anything, you know, for as a reward, but we have to do this. If we don't, we won't survive. And if we work the way we are working right now," so they said, "Fine, we'll give it our best." And that whole year, they really worked hard. This was the union leaders talking to my boss, and then they worked hard, and they hit all their numbers and went beyond that. And so the Americans who were part owners in the company then declared a special bonus and things like that. And so then he decided to, distribute that bonus as an incentive amongst all the workers. So he called the union again and said, "I have great news for you. The foreigners, are very happy. And so they've given us this money. So we are distributing the money to all of you. And so all of you, thank you." And my boss was not ready for what the union leader said next. He said, "We didn't do it for the money, sir. We did this because you needed our help. Why are you equating this to money?" So, I think at times we underestimate that the person could be doing it for something else. I mean, it doesn't mean the money is not important. Don't get me wrong here. I mean, of course, we do need money to live right. But beyond a certain point, it's no longer about the money.
There is one episode that I heard, I don't know whether you told me or that when Deming was traveling, and then somebody helped him with the luggage, and he automatically got $1 and gave, and he felt bad about it. Yeah.
He said, "I shouldn't have done that. Why did I do?" He said that I once a doctor went out of his way to help him, escorted him to the car and this and that and all. And then he said, I sent back a note. I sent him a handwritten note, a thank you note that he took care. He said he met me 4 years later in a conference, and he was carrying that note in his pocket. He said, "I still have this." He said that was more important if I'd given him a $50 bill. Yes. So it's not always like he always said that. He said pay is not a motivator. He said, of course, you need money to live right and to live good, but beyond that, pay is not a motivator. So he advocated. I think we need to go back to our roots, and we in India are like that. We feel happy when others are happy, right?
True.
It's a fact. You see that. In fact, if you've been watching the World Cup, you remember. I don't know if you saw this, that footballer from Morocco dancing with his mother. I think that's the ultimate. What better scene can there be than making your mother happy? It didn't matter whether they lost later on, but to give that happiness, so I think that's the same thing. Okay, I remember many years ago, for that matter, was talking to someone from a well-known software company in India. And we were talking about this, the HR lady and I. And when I said joy in work, and she said, "Oh my God," she said, "Joy in work? Joy in work is what the employee feels on a Sunday night about a Monday morning."
Good.
So I think that was nice that you brought this up. Most fitting that we spoke about this.
Yeah, I think. So thank you very much, Balaji sir. I know you have been
absolutely.
I know that you have just come back from your lecture sessions in college. You spared this time.
Yeah, long
and it
day.
means a lot to me. And talking about intrinsic motivation, I can feel the joy in me that I could talk to you and record you.
No, that's why. I mean, when you said that, I said I have to do this. I was quite dogged because it's been horrible. Driving in Pune on Pune roads now has become an obstacle race with the metro work going on everywhere.
I had
But
to get.
I'm a little upset with you, Dr. Mohan. You've been coming to Pune and not visiting me.
I just came once. I just came once.
No, that's not fair.
I will make it up next year. It's just a couple of days. Because in any case, I go to learn control charts from you. So I'm going to come across and you're going to give me a good dinner in your place. I'm not going to meet you anywhere else in your place. So I'll be there. See you next year. And thanks for being there for me. And there are a lot of things that I got to do. And you have intrinsically motivated me. So I'm going to get cracking and let me make you proud of me by doing what I'm supposed to do. Okay, thanks a lot, Balaji sir.
All right.
Yes,
Absolutely.
Thank you very much. I'm going to stop recording.
Thank you.